I want to begin this video with a bit of a riddle. Delaware, Kansas, Washington Parish. What do these three locations have in common? You probably guessed it. We have had even more jail escapes and attempts happening throughout this week. Three more, as a matter of fact. One in Delaware, one in Kansas, and yet another attempt in Louisiana. Have I told you guys that it's escape season? With every day that passes, the closer we get to summertime, ain't nobody got time for jail or prison anymore, it would seem. And this latest batch of prisoners attempting to escape just further solidifies that line of thinking. I'm going to start first with Louisiana. This was actually the first story that I ran across while really just trying to keep tabs on the escapes that we've already been sharing about Arkansas involving the former police chief, and New Orleans, where yet still two fugitives remain on the loose. By the way, we've also got Ohio as well, where three of those fugitives are still on the loose. But let me start with Washington Parish again in Louisiana, where on Monday night, just after midnight, another prisoner would attempt to escape from custody. Washington Parish Sheriff praises officers after inmates' escape fails. I don't know what you call this, like rubbing it in, I guess you could say. Hey, at least in Washington Parish, another part of Louisiana, and in this particular case, at least this guy didn't get out of the jail. But was it because of the officers? Or possibly because of the prisoners? Also, I really wonder what made this guy want to escape. Was it hearing about all of these other escapes that are taking place right now that got the wheels turning in this individual's head? According to a Facebook post, the Washington Parish Sheriff's Office, James B. Lorio tried to escape from his cell late Monday night. A Washington Parish inmate is facing new charges after deputies say he attempted to escape through the jail's air conditioning system. I thought that shit was only in movies, that they had air ducts big enough where people could actually crawl through them. You mean to tell me that shit is real? I understand like industrial HVAC and all that's going to require bigger ventilation systems to push more air. But whoever engineered the jail didn't see that as a potential security risk. You know, a prisoner could actually fit through those vents, but we got to move this air some kind of a way. Unbelievable that this guy was actually able to get into the air conditioning system to start with. According to a Facebook post from the Washington Parish Sheriff's Office, James B. Lorio tried to escape from his cell late Monday night. It happened just before midnight on May the 26th. The Sheriff's Office say inmates in a nearby block heard Lorio moving through the ductwork and alerted correctional officers by flagging internal surveillance cameras. Damn, they straight up snitched on old boy. I'm not going to lie, I had read a little bit about this story prior to sharing it with you guys. I knew that the inmates had alerted the guards. I thought that they yelled. Like, hey, there's somebody up there, you gotta go get him. And could you imagine being that prisoner in the ventilation system? I know that that's probably preposterous to even think about, but imagine what he was thinking if hearing something like that, like, oh shit, I gotta hurry up and get back to my cell. They're on to me. Damn prisoners telling on me. It ain't even the guards. Prisoners doing the guards' job for them. Talking about the sheriff commended his officers. What did they do? If it weren't for the inmates alerting the guards by waving flags in front of the cameras, this guy might have gotten away. Let's not take away from the sheriff's office in this particular case. At least somebody was watching the cameras at this jail. Because in the previous two escapes that have taken place in recent weeks down in Louisiana, it doesn't seem like anybody was in those cases. So good on Washington Parish for having somebody in the control booth. So again, I was thinking that the inmates started yelling to get the attention of the guards, and then Buddy could hear that. They was waving. So he might not have known that everybody was on to him. Officers responded quickly to the cell block and found that Lorio had returned after realizing that his escape path was blocked and that officers had been alerted. Okay, so he did know the guards were coming. After they waved their arms, they probably like, hey, yo, buddy, hey, you might want to get back to your cell because we just told on you. Jail is so much different these days. Actually, I take that back because they were telling just as much when I was serving time. He was charged with simple escape for leaving his assigned cell block. He might be able to beat this when he goes to court. Your Honor, my client was simply just studying HVAC. He wanted to come. I don't know how you could beat this charge. Sheriff Smith would like to thank the correctional officers who were on shift Monday evening for their diligence and fast response. Just rub it in the face. That's right. My sheriff's deputies be doing their job. I don't know what they be doing in New Orleans or over there in Tangapoa. Yeah, I don't know what they be doing over there. But here, my officers do their due diligence and their jobs. The number one way that we secure the jail is through the actions of the officers who are charged with ensuring security and peace inside the facility. Our shift supervisors and leaders are the reason we don't have some of the problems that we are seeing at the other jails in the area. So yeah, they don't mention what this guy was locked up for. That's unfortunate. Would really like to know that. But let's go ahead and move on because we've got two other stories coming out literally right this second. But I'd like to refer to this as the Delaware dummy because that's where this is taking place at. And this guy who did this certainly was just that. Headline that reads, officials capture prisoner who escaped custody in Delaware County. Is Delaware County in Delaware? I'm pretty sure we're talking about Pennsylvania in this particular case. Yes, Delaware County, Medea, Pennsylvania, where this next story takes place from. And not per se from the jail, but from the courthouse. Officials captured a prisoner they say escaped from police custody at the Delaware County Courthouse in Medea, Pennsylvania. Is it Medea or is it Media? Because it's spelled exactly the way that you spell media. What is this person's name right here? Taquan? I have no idea how you pronounce this. Taquan Wilson, 22, fled from the courthouse on 201 West Front Street Thursday morning, officials said. Residents who lived nearby were told to shelter in place. Nether Providence Police and other law enforcement agencies joined the search shortly before 11 a.m. Wilson was captured and placed back in custody. But he probably wasn't even gone for like 2 hours. Officials have not yet revealed how he escaped in the first place. According to online records, Wilson was scheduled to appear in court on charges of receiving stolen property, fleeing or attempting to elude an officer. Looks like you're going to have another one of those on your record. Criminal mischief and driving without a license and other related offenses. All of this sounds, it's bad charges, but not like the worst and most egregious. Buddy, you was probably only looking at less than 5 for this. 2 to 5. But now you've got an escape charge to add to that resume as well that you're going to be walking up into the courtroom with. And not a very pleasant resume, I might add. And certainly a new charge that's going to add a new sentencing guideline. Because of the fact that you have a fleeing or attempting to elude an officer as well as an escape charge, you can rest assured you're not going to be going anywhere lax. You're going to be going to it. You might even be going to a major or a maximum security because of it. Where prior to this, even with the fleeing and attempting to elude an officer charge, you could have been going to a medium at most. Not no more though. You got a real high likelihood of going to a major. Folks, we've got one final story coming out, and this is a really interesting escape. And it's not even an escape. I believe it's a walking off charge. This is coming to us out of Kansas. Inmate escapes from Johnson County work release considered dangerous. Let me just go ahead and say what I really feel about this. How y'all going to consider this guy dangerous, but yet you let him out on work release? You entrusted this guy to leave from the facility every single day to go to work and then to come home at the end of the day. Home being back to the jail or prison, wherever this guy was at. But now all of a sudden that he left, he's dangerous. He wasn't dangerous before when we were letting him out, but because he's walked off, everything's off the table. This man is going to do whatever it takes to remain a fugitive. Is that the rationale by labeling this guy dangerous? Because if we're going to base it upon his criminal record and possibly what charges he's on work release for, if he was dangerous then, why y'all let him out on work release? I'm just curious. Kansas City, Missouri, an inmate of the Kansas Department of Corrections, so he was in prison, escaped Wednesday night and is considered dangerous, according to the Department of Corrections. Anthony Mansfield was placed on escape status around 10 p.m. on Wednesday after failing to show up for work or return to the Johnson County Department of Corrections Adult Residential Center. Damn, y'all gave a man an escape charge? All he did was just walk off. When you let somebody out the front door of the prison and say, okay, hey, see you later, we'll see you after work. How you giving him an escape? An escape means he had to jump over a fence. You have to get beyond a fence or through a wall, and that's escape. Mansfield is a 36-year-old white male who the department says is considered dangerous. Why? I need to know the exact rationale behind labeling this man this. According to a news release, he was reported missing when he could not be found at the correctional center. No shit. You know, if we're going to judge this book by the cover, and I mean, just looking at his mugshots right here, Buddy looks dangerous. But then again, so did I when I got locked up and I took my mugshots. But you know me. I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. Mansfield is 5'8" and weighs 185 pounds with an average build. The Department of Corrections said he has brown hair and brown eyes. Mansfield was last seen wearing a t-shirt with black designs, a long black sleeve undershirt, brown boots, a brown baseball hat, and stone-washed jeans. Buddy wasn't even wearing a jail or prison uniform. This man was wearing street clothes. He didn't even need to change outfits. Y'all let him out looking like a civilian. Mansfield was convicted in Johnson County for 8 months of incarceration for criminal damage to property convictions. Hold on. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me this guy escaped from jail and he ain't had but 8 months left to serve? God dang it. What the hell would make somebody want to do that? And what if there's a plausible explanation for all of this? They said he didn't show up to work and he didn't return to the prison. Are we sure he didn't get hit by a car and this guy's not laid up in the hospital somewhere? I mean, I understand. The world is highly sensitive to escapes right this second with so many taking place literally right now. Good God, we got 10 fugitives on the run right this second. But this story just seems like there could be something more to this. But maybe not. Maybe 8 months was too long for this guy. And who knows, maybe he's halfway to Mexico by now. Going to remain a fugitive for the rest of his life, running from the remainder of an 8-month sentence. Because God knows how long he had left on that at this point. But tack on another 5 years you could potentially be getting if you really did escape, only having an 8-month frickin' sentence. Folks, escape season this year seems to be hitting a lot harder than years previous. And I'm not sure for what the reason why is. But regardless, I wanted to share these updates with you and these most recent escapes and attempts. And I hope that you found some interest in this. If you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you think about these stories that we've talked about here today. Also, if you're not subscribed here on After Prison Show and you're enjoying the content, please consider doing so and turning on bell notifications so that you never miss an upload from us. It would certainly be appreciated and would go a long way to helping to support this channel. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace!